Welcome back. Cairo climate talks between Egyptian and German experts were recently held and have underlined that a greener Cairo needs a long-term feasible planning and implementation to improve the quality of life for its inhabitants. Some experts pointed out that Cairo needs green architecture. This deals with environment in a more effective way. It can design better cities, districts, streets and open spaces and buildings. And with us this morning to shed more light on this very interesting issue is Dr. Hind Farouh, architect and senior researcher of sustainable architecture and urban development at the Housing and Building National Research Center. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And also we are joined by Dr. Martin Bergfelder, German scientific attaché to Egypt. Thank you for being with us.
Dr. Martin, first of all, tell us more about the cooperation between Egypt and Germany, especially that the symposium has been just held recently.
We have, since a long time, a very close cooperation between Egypt and Germany in the field of environment, sustainable development, climate change. A lot is going on through development cooperation. We have built, for example, a big wind farm in Zafarana, which is the biggest one in Africa, I think. And the embassy has started last year a series of events called the Cairo Climate Talks, where we are focusing each month on a different topic related to climate change, such as agriculture or the international negotiations. And this time we focused on sustainable urban planning and housing.
Okay, my question to Dr. Hind. Cairo Climate Talks stress that a greener Cairo needs a longer-term feasible plan. Are we referring to, when we talk about greener Cairo, are we referring basically to greenery and plants and trees? Is this basically the idea?
No, it's not the idea. Actually, this is a misconception about the idea. Because when we are talking about greener Cairo, we are talking about energy efficient buildings, we are talking about water efficiency, we are talking about solid waste management, we are talking about a holistic approach for greener Cairo, and we are talking about better quality of life. But most of the people, when we are talking about greener, they are talking about the color and the plants.
Yes, exactly, trees and greenery.
Exactly, and this is the misconception, this is not true.
Okay.
Dr. Martin, talking about this Cairo that we are all dreaming of, how can we reach this? Because we understand that this means that we need healthy life in Cairo. Am I correct? Because greener, I mean a friend to the environment, everything has to be clean, healthy to people. How can we reach this? Can this be applied?
We have had lengthy discussions about this, and I think the experts agreed that there's no way that we can have a big bang and then from magic we will have a green Cairo, but we need to take an incremental approach. We need to start with the pilot projects spread out throughout the city, and as my colleague has mentioned.
What kind of projects?
For example, she can explain more about the housing project that she has for sustainable and cheap housing that has better quality of air and is much more energy efficient. I think we need also some pilot projects for a better transportation system, trying to get more public transport. I think in waste management there's more that can be done in terms of pilot projects, and regarding the quality of life also we have been discussing that we should open, or we should try to open the city more to the Nile again, so trying to get people back access to the Nile in downtown. Right now it's kind of nearly impossible for the normal public to join the Nile, so that would also improve the quality of life. And if you look at the average amount of green land that is available to a person in Cairo, it's much less than in other cities. And there are various approaches, I think, how you can improve this. But there will be no big bang. You cannot, destroy half of the city and create a park. That's not the idea. But the idea is incrementally
work on what we have.
Work on what we have, yes.
Okay. Dr. Hind, what do you, as specialists, mean when we talk about green architecture? What is green architecture?
Okay. When we are talking about green architecture, we are talking about affordable, or we can say cheap and at the same time, we are talking about green material, which means coming from the local material and maybe coming from the earth. And we are talking about indoor environmental quality, which means that we are studying the air movement inside the building. We are studying the color. We are studying the energy efficiency. We are studying the water efficiency, that you can stay at your home, at your office, and you feel that you are comfortable from a psychological point of view, thermal point of view, and you don't need air conditioning in winter and in summer. So this is the main concept in green architecture. And referring to her question, because she asked about concrete projects, and it's important that since 2009, Housing and Building National Research Center has started to take concrete steps on the ground, because we are talking about greener Cairo, greener Egypt, actually like just slogan, but we have started concrete action that we worked on pilot. As Martin said, that we need pilot on the ground. So we have something called Sustainable Park on 6th of October City. It's 10,000 faddan, and we built 5 different type of construction. One of them that are really interesting, and which is from earth construction, that we use the earth with very little cement and to build in a very greener way. And it's affordable and cheap, and at the same time it's very comfortable and healthy. At the same time, we are working in a big project on the scale of village, which is called the project called PLEV, Productive, Low-Cost, Environmentally Friendly Village. Because after the revolution, we want to solve the problem of unemployment and the problem of low-cost housing, because we have lots of housing units, but most of it's not affordable, especially for the youth. And also to work on the deterioration of the environment, especially for water and energy. So with the governorate of Fayoum, and with the local development ministry, and with the Desert Research Institute, we have started to work together for more than 6 months right now, working with the people themselves to work to build a pilot with participation from the youth and community for this sustainable community.
Dr. Martin, of course, one of the challenges, I believe, talking about procedures and services here in Egypt in general, is the centralization. Is there a way out of this? How can we get rid of this, and people, each one can take his own decision in his field? Because decision making now is started to be one of the main issues that we are talking about.
I mean, it's for me as a foreigner to this country, it's difficult to give advice. I mean, you have to find your way how you govern your country.
I'm talking in general. How can people change the system from centralization to decentralization?
I think, I mean, if you compare it to the experience we have made in Germany, Germany is a very decentralized country.
It was not like this in the past.
It was not like this in the past, but after Second World War, there was a natural reason for this, because Berlin, the big capital, was somewhere in the east, and so West Germany had to reconstruct itself, and we have various, if you say, middle cities. And we have a lot of power and a lot of responsibility is going to the provinces. So only some issues are handled by the central government, but a lot of issues like also education and urban planning and all this is done on the concrete ground in the cities and in the provinces. So I think this has been very helpful to develop the countries, because usually the people who are on the ground know much better what the right thing is, rather than people who are thousands of kilometers away and have to decide on their desk. On the other hand, when it comes to, especially when it comes to urban planning, what I understood from the discussions we have had is that a lot of ministries in Egypt are involved in this, and sometimes everybody has his own sectoral approach, and there maybe we don't need more centralization, but we need more coordination. So bringing the various actors together, the various ministries and other stakeholders for a holistic approach is also very important. If everybody is just, one is looking at the water, the other is looking at the energy, then somewhere there is no, suitable approach.
Okay. When we talk about plans and projects that you're working on, are we talking about projects that will start from scratch, or do you intend to work on already existing projects, housing units and areas and districts that could be improved or altered according to your plan for this project? I mean, do you start from scratch? You start building districts from nothing, from the ground?
Both.
And this is a question for you.
I think we are talking about both. A pilot that we want to start from scratch, because we are saying that we want to build communities on the desert. Because by 2050, the population will reach 140 or 50 millions. So we need to start something from scratch as a successful pilot that could be replicated according to the climatic conditions and the potentiality of each place. At the same time, we have to work on the existing, how to upgrade the existing, especially when we are talking about informal settlements and all of these districts inside Cairo and also outside.
What about the funding when we talk about projects that will be built from scratch? Who will fund this project?
For example, for PLEB project, the Productive Low-Cost Environmentally Friendly Village, we are talking that we will start series of workshop with the investors, private sector investors, and with the donors, and also some fundings from the government and from the people who want to live in this community. They have to participate. And we have group working on the fundraising mechanism. Most of them are from youth with experts, and they are trying to search for innovative kind of funding, because we cannot do the same like what we did before in the last period.
So this is a complete project, right?
Yes.
Did it start to take place or not yet, or when are you going? Yes, you are working on. How did you start, and for example, do you expect it to finish when?
Yeah, we have started actually 1 year ago, just searching for a land to house this sustainable community, and finally with government of Fayoum we have right now 2,000 faddan in Yusuf district. We are right now on the preparation and planning phase, and
I mean, you did not start anything, still you are searching for the land and preparing, or did any action has been taken?
We worked on the planning and design phase, because this is the most important issue, because before that we used to work without really deep planning and design, and this is the most important phase. If we will plan in a good and well way, it means that the project after that will be a successful model. So we worked on 4 actually groups, group working on the green economy, and group working on the sustainable community management, and group working on urban planning, design and infrastructure, and another group working on the issues related to renewable energy and all of these issues. It's related to green economy, but it needs some professional expert.
How long will it take?
We hope that by 2013 that this project will be real, but we hope that by end of this year it will be some actions on the ground.
Okay.
Just to add, I think you still have something. You already have something to show, right?
Yeah.
This training center. Maybe you should talk about this.
Yeah.
Show us a video from constructing this.
Yeah, because before working on this big scale, we build models, real model on the ground on Housing and Building National Research Center venue from earth construction, and it will be a training center for anything related to sustainable development in Egypt, because we want to disseminate the idea. And actually the youth participated in the building and on the process, and you can comment before we build this building, the people say, okay, from earth, yeah, we know, because earth related to the people the farmers and people who are living in the villages. But when they saw that we have scientific base and we have modern techniques, they felt that, okay, this is maybe will be the future of Egypt.
Okay. Mr. Martin Bergfeld, during one of the recent sessions of the Cairo Climate Talks, you also talked about the impact of centralization on urban development. What has been told about this?
The impact of centralization in urban
Urban planning
yes.
in Cairo.
Yes, that sometimes, as we had mentioned, that sometimes it is maybe centralization is maybe not the best approach to for urban planning. I mean, there has to be an approach that brings all actors together, but I think it is important that the local people, the local communities are involved in urban planning, and that there's not somebody sitting at his desk without knowing the situation on the ground that does some planning. But definitely, if you want to have some, a long perspective planning of a city, you need some kind of a global plan to do this. If you just let anything happen, on the ground without planning then you will see the results as you see them now in Cairo. But it's difficult. You cannot compare the situation in Germany and in Egypt. You have to adapt to the circumstances where you are. But I think Cairo can look at other megacities in the world, like Beijing or other big cities that are taking approaches to become more sustainable, more green, and that are maybe more comparable to Cairo than Berlin or Munich. So there are approaches around the world that you can benefit from.
So on the conclusion, what are the recommendations for reaching a better quality of life in Cairo?
I think the recommendations are you should, as we have said, you should not only focus on planting trees. Planting trees is good. More trees are good to improve the air quality, and it's better for psychological aspects, but you should try to tackle all the issues that are related to this: transport, energy, waste management, housing, air quality, and also create areas, public spaces that people can enjoy and benefit from, not only Azhar Park, but more parks like this. And yes, it's great. And if I go to Azhar Park, I see all these people there. It's packed, and you can see that the people are desperately striving to have these areas. And I would say we need 100 more Azhar Parks in Cairo. That would be a great benefit. And I would love to see personally some transport on the Nile. I'm always sitting in my car and stuck in traffic, and next to me is the Nile, and the Nile is empty, and I'm asking myself, why is there not a boat to take me through the Nile, which would be much easier and better for the environment also.
Okay. And if you please, I'd like to say to add to that the community participation, because it should be linked to all of these process and to involve the people on all the decision-making process and the planning and design.
So we need to change the culture, the behavior, the attitudes. So we're talking about something completely.
Yeah, but it's very important because we used to build buildings rather than communities.
This will be more difficult than the project itself.
I think, yeah, but it will take time. But I think if we will not do that, it will not be successful models.
Okay. Dr. Hind Farouh, architect and senior researcher of sustainable architecture and urban development at the Housing and Building National Research Center. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And of course, Mr. Martin Bergfelder, German scientific attaché to Egypt. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.